They tell you that new cars are symbols of safety, intelligence, and reliability. A promise of a perfect future on four wheels. But what if I told you that behind that glossy paint, that new car smell, and those flashy advertisements lies a financial nightmare waiting to swallow you whole? In today's list, we're going to expose 8 brand new cars you might instantly regret buying. From top-selling SUVs, luxurious electric vehicles, to six-figure disasters that even insurance companies shake their heads at. If you're planning to buy a car in 2025, then this is the life or death warning you cannot afford to miss. The four-wheeled nightmare, Jeep Wrangler. Let's start with a legend, or at least something that used to be considered one, the Jeep Wrangler. I never thought I'd say this, but the Jeep Wrangler might be one of the worst choices you can make in 2025. It looks like freedom on four wheels, right? But beneath that rugged exterior is a heap of expensive problems waiting to be unearthed. Starting at $35,000, and the Rubicon 392 version nearly $80,000. That's not just overpriced, that's insane for a car that can barely stay together on the highway. I'm talking about the terrifying phenomenon owners call the death wobble, a violent shaking in the front end at high speeds that Jeep has been trying to fix for years. And the fixes? Most people call them temporary. There's even the fancy-sounding Sky One-Touch Power Top, until water starts leaking into your cabin. Yes, puddles right on your headliner and soaking into your interior. And if that's not enough, let's talk about the electronic chaos. Everything, from power windows to the dashboard, is connected to a flimsy component called the Totally Integrated Power Module, TPM. If it fails, your Wrangler will become a very expensive paperweight. Even the tow hooks and suspension components are questionable. Not good at all for a vehicle built to conquer the wilderness. I get the appeal, but for that kind of money, you're better off with a Toyota 4Runner or even a legendary Land Cruiser. They might not have the same rugged image, but they certainly don't come with a pile of repair bills and insurance headaches. A legend crumbles, Ford F-150 Hybrid. Next up, a name I never thought I'd put on this list, the Ford F-150 Hybrid. It's been America's best-selling truck for over 4 decades. A legend, a workhorse, a no-brainer choice for buyers, until now. The 2025 F-150 Hybrid was supposed to be the smarter, greener evolution of that legacy. Instead, it's turning out to be one of the biggest disappointments of the year. Consumer Reports gave it a reliability score of 8 out of 100. That's not just low. That's you might want to keep a backup car low. Owners are reporting everything from strange engine noises to harsh power transitions, jerky acceleration, and even battery system warnings popping up within the first year. And these aren't isolated incidents. Forums are packed with frustrated drivers who bought the hybrid thinking they'd save money, but ended up at the dealership again and again. The powertrain is advertised as seamless, but in reality, it's unpredictable. Sometimes the truck hesitates, sometimes it lurches forward, and when it's not acting up, it just feels underpowered. Even the fuel economy isn't as impressive as promised. Many owners say their real-world MPG barely beats the regular gasoline version, especially when towing or hauling. And let's not forget the repair costs. Hybrid systems are complex, and once you're out of warranty, replacing components like the battery pack or control modules will make your wallet scream. Only 2 out of 5 owners say they'd buy the F-150 Hybrid again. That's a huge blow to Ford's reputation in the truck world. If you're considering a hybrid pickup for 2025, then this is probably not the one you want. Because there's nothing worse than trusting a name you've always believed in, only to end up regretting it the moment you drive off the lot. False luxury, Land Rover Discovery Sport. Moving on to the Land Rover Discovery Sport. I know this one was going to be on the list. In fact, if I didn't include it, I'd probably get roasted in the comments. The Land Rover Discovery Sport is famous for all the wrong reasons. Year after year, it's ranked near the bottom for reliability, and 2025 is no exception. Consumer Reports gave it a 32 out of 100. That's not just bad, that's what were you thinking territory. You'd expect luxury with a price tag north of $50,000. But what you get is a stiff, clunky ride like a shopping cart with a flat tire. And the infotainment system? Don't even try. It's slow, buggy, and frustrating. Think outdated software dressed up in a fancy shell. You'll spend more time trying to reboot it than navigating. Inside, it's a mixed bag. Looks flashy on the outside, but once you sit down, you realize the materials feel cheaper than you'd expect. The layout is clunky and visibility is poor due to thick pillars and awkward angles. So who's buying this thing? Honestly, people chasing the brand name and not the experience. Because once that new car smell fades, what you're left with is a $60,000 headache, terrible resale value, and more time at the shop than on the road. If you want a truly luxurious SUV, there are better, more reliable ways to spend your money. A broken future, Tesla Cybertruck. Next we have the Tesla Cybertruck. I wanted to love the Cybertruck. I really did. The wild design, the hype that went beyond all limits. But the reality is a $100,000 stainless steel nightmare. Let's start with the recalls. Not for a tiny light or a minor sensor. No, Tesla had to recall over 50,000 Cybertrucks because an exterior trim piece, the so-called cantrail, could literally fly off while driving. That's not a minor defect. That's a flying hazard on the highway at breakneck speeds. And it gets worse. Some vehicles have completely failing windshield wipers, not ideal in a storm. Others have stuck accelerator pedals, forcing the vehicle to continue accelerating even when your foot is off the gas. Tesla says it's rare, but rare doesn't matter when you're in the driver's seat and a 6,800 pounds metal beast won't stop. Then you have the classic Tesla quality control issues. Misaligned panels, rattles, trim pieces that feel rushed. And for what? This truck can cost over $98,000 fully loaded. For that money, you expect perfection, not gaps so large you could lose your keys. Even the most die-hard Tesla fans are starting to admit the Cybertruck might be too much, too soon. It's bold, it's flashy, it turns heads. But underneath, it feels like an early beta test at the price of a luxury car. The promise of a revolutionary future has turned into a harsh reality. Bright promises, dark reality. Volkswagen ID.4. Volkswagen said the ID.4 would challenge Tesla. What they didn't tell you is you'd spend more time fighting with the tech than enjoying the drive. On the surface, the ID.4 looks like a solid EV. It's got the right looks, a decent price, and a familiar name behind it. But once you start driving it, and more importantly, living with it, things go south very quickly. Let's talk about the software. Everything in the ID.4, from climate control to driving settings, runs through the central screen. There are no physical buttons. And when that screen freezes, you lose access to everything. And that happens often. Owners report random reboots while driving, black screens on startup, and touch controls so slow your smartphone from 2012 looks faster. One update was so bad it broke driver assistance features mid-drive. That's not just inconvenient, that's dangerous. Then there's charging. DC fast charging is slow, and even when it works, the charging port can be finicky. Sometimes it just doesn't recognize the charger. Now imagine that in the middle of winter, low on battery, and the car won't charge. You'd expect a German-made car to feel rock solid, but the ID.4 rattles, has loose trim pieces and cheap plastics. Volkswagen used to be the epitome of engineering precision. This one feels like they cut corners to chase EV hype. And don't think the problems stop with the car. Dealership support is disjointed, and owners report long wait times for parts, uncertain software fixes, and conflicting service information. All in all, a fully loaded ID.4 can top $50,000, but it delivers the user experience of a beta test. Lost in oblivion. Infiniti QX50. I've driven a lot of luxury SUVs, and few feel as forgettable and frustrating as the Infiniti QX50. On the surface, it looks promising. Sculpted lines, a high-tech cabin, a badge that once symbolized premium Nissan performance. But behind the wheel, you'll face a harsh reality. Let's start with the variable compression turbo engine, Infiniti's big claim to fame. It's supposed to deliver V6 torque with 4-cylinder fuel economy. But in reality, it's laggy, inconsistent, and delivers neither performance nor efficiency. You press the gas and wait. Then it finally kicks in awkwardly. It's a strange delay that makes the QX50 feel disconnected and underwhelming. And the steering? Completely numb. No feedback, no feel, just a vague sense of where you're going. For a luxury SUV, that's a huge letdown, especially when competitors like the Genesis GV70 or Acura RDX feel so much sharper, smoother, and more refined. Inside, The cabin tries to look premium, but dig a little deeper. And it's full of outdated design choices, awkward screen layouts, and materials that don't match the $45,000 plus price tag. And here's where it really hurts: resale value. The QX50 depreciates quickly, faster than most luxury SUVs in its class. You finance one today, and in just a few years, you could own more than it's worth. Worse, Infiniti's dealership network is shrinking, and support can feel disjointed. That means longer wait times, limited parts inventory, and a brand that feels like it's slowly retreating from the American market. So what are you left with? A luxury SUV that doesn't drive like a luxury car, doesn't hold its value, and doesn't feel like the future. It's not just a missed opportunity. It's a prime example of how high-tech marketing doesn't always translate into real-world satisfaction. Luxury gone wrong. Jeep Grand Cherokee. Next on the list, we have the Jeep Grand Cherokee. It used to be a symbol of rugged luxury. Now it's one of the most regretted purchases of 2025. Let's be honest, it looks great on the outside. Bold styling, a crisp interior, packed with features. But underneath, it's a mess. A very expensive mess. Consumer Reports gave it a shocking reliability score of 25 out of 100. One of the lowest in the entire mid-size SUV segment. And it's not just the number, it's the stories behind it. Owners report repeated trips to the dealership to fix things like engine misfires, infotainment system glitches, and errors that cause warning lights to flash for no reason. One person even said, "For trips to service, and they still can't tell me what's wrong." Imagine spending over $40,000 and still driving something that feels unstable, buggy, and unfinished. That's the Grand Cherokee experience for too many people right now. The tech package? Impressive at first glance, but prone to freezing, crashing, or refusing to start entirely. Some owners even experience failures of ADAS features like lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control mid-drive. And don't get too comfortable behind the wheel. The transmission's hesitation, rough shifts, and random lurches make this SUV feel more like a beta test than a polished product. All of this would be annoying in an economy car. But for something advertised as a premium, do-it-all SUV, it's a blatant betrayal. If you're considering a Grand Cherokee and thinking it can't be that bad, trust me, I thought the same. But once the problems start, they don't stop, and neither do the repair bills. A legend rises, then falls. Tesla Model 3, base version. Hard to believe, but true. The car that once redefined the EV market is now becoming one of the biggest buyer's regrets of 2025. The Tesla Model 3, especially the base rear-wheel drive version, looks great on paper. Sleek design, quick acceleration, and a price under $42,000. But here's the truth. What you see isn't always what you get. Let's start with build quality, because it's still an issue. We're talking about paint defects, panel gaps, loose trim pieces, and rattles in the interior, all in a brand new car. It doesn't stop there. Owners have reported suspension issues that make the ride stiff and uncomfortable, especially on rough roads. And this isn't just about comfort. It impacts the car's confidence at higher speeds. And then there's the tech, which is supposed to be Tesla's strong suit. But instead, frozen screens, glitching cameras, disconnected Bluetooth, and voice command errors are still too common. And because everything is controlled through the screen, even basic things like defrosters or lights, when the system glitches, you lose control over entire vehicle functions. And here's the kicker, it doesn't hold its value. For just a few $1,000s more, you can get the Model Y, which offers more space, more features, and all-wheel drive. That makes the base Model 3 feel like a cheap interim version of a Tesla rather than a flagship EV. Owners also report long wait times for service, parts delays, and inconsistent repair quality. You expect better support when you buy a cutting-edge brand, but Tesla's service network is still struggling to keep up. Yes, it's fast. Yes, it looks cool. But at this point, the base Model 3 feels like a gamble and not one most buyers want to play again. Do you see? Behind the glamour of new cars, the promises of convenience and advanced technology, lies a harsh truth. Every car on this list, whether it boasts best-selling status, ultimate luxury, or groundbreaking innovation, is silently draining your wallet and your endurance. If this video helped you avoid an expensive mistake, don't hesitate to like and share it with your friends and family. Leave a comment below about which car you're interested in or your own car story. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on other important analyses and warnings from us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.